let's talk about time series charts. Those charts that shows how data changes over time, helping you track trends, patterns, or comparison across dates. Looker Studio offers us a few different time series chart, sparkle chart, and smooth time series chart. Let's choose this one and paste it into our report. We can expand it and we can add some dimensions and metrics. First dimension would be a date for us, and in the metric, let's do revenue. Thanks to this chart, you can actually track and monitor the data how it changes over the time. For example, if you have launched a new campaign, awareness campaign, which was running for a certain period of time, you can monitor how during this period of time your revenue or sessions or traffic have changed. The same if you had, for example, a Black Friday sales or some other type of sales. Thanks to this chart, you can track certain period of times. Or in total, how your revenue and how your data change over time. In date section, actually, we can choose here the custom date and choose last quarter, for example. And we click apply. As you see in here, we see our date as a date of the day, meaning we see November 7th, 8th, and so on. But we actually can change it. In date, we can edit it, and instead of date day, choose year months. And now our data will have a different view. This type of date is great to use if you would like to see your last year, for example, or last 6 months. Let's do last year, and we can see how our revenue grew over the last year. In this chart, we can also add another metrics, for example, sessions. This way, we will be able to see how sessions impact our revenue. For example, we could see if the sessions would grow and the revenue would grow as well, meaning we did some good job bringing more relevant traffic into our website, which influenced growth of our revenue. Besides adding extra metrics, we can add also extra dimensions. For example, let's choose source and medium. And now you can see a chart where your revenue is divided per session source medium. This way you can monitor how each individual source and medium performs. Unfortunately, in those scenarios, we either have to choose extra dimensions or extra metrics. You cannot add extra dimensions together with some extra metrics. As you see, if I delete in here the dimension, automatically extra metrics appear. But if I add here a dimension, the metrics option disappear. But we do have another option, such as optional metrics. If you click in here, you will see you can add extra metrics, such as sessions, for example. But as you see, once I added it into the report, it didn't change the actual chart. It's because the optional metrics appear for us in here, optional metrics. Once you click in here, you can choose either you would like to see the data of total revenue or sessions. This is how optional metrics work. We could also optimize this chart by adding filters and, for example, keep the filter of particular source and medium and excluding those dimensions from here and just add some extra metrics over here. But about filters, we will talk a little bit later in the course. Now let's go into style, and we can slightly style our chart. We can choose the color by dimension values or series order. And if you choose dimension values, you can actually manage each color per the dimension. so you can edit it how you would like to show your data. We can also change particular series. For example, we would like the series 1 to be a line. We can also change it how bold it is and either it's dashed, dotted, and so on. We can also show points and show data labels. We can also modify our line by stepped lines, but in my opinion, it doesn't look great. And we also can tap cumulative, where all the data will be cumulated. If it comes to showing data labels, we can also compact the numbers so they have less space on our chart. We can also change the font. We can also change the background of those numbers. And we can also add a trend line into our chart. For example, linear. We can make it way much bolder and we can add the color red. For the second series, instead of line, we can choose bars. And our data will show this way. We can also click stepped lines and show data labels. We can also compact the numbers. And all of those settings we can apply to all our series. If you would like to show more series in your chart, you can also add those series in here. Number of series, instead of 10, you can choose several, for example, 20s. But while you choose those options, sometimes those charts can be not readable enough. So that's why I wouldn't suggest to add too many series to the chart. It's better to add, for example, top 5 series and then group others. We can also modify axes, for example, show axis, reverse it, or reverse the direction of it. We can also click into log scale, and also the nice thing and the nice feature is where we can show axis title. Like in here, for example, you see the date, year, month appeared. And also we can do it for the new total revenue axis title. So we can change grid colors, fonts, and font size, but it's already up to you how you would like your grid to be shown. And of course, we can change the background and borders, add a shadow, for example, add the color to the border. So let me now quickly create the charts which will be useful for us for our report. As you can see, I've tried to create a chart where I would like to see what item have performed best. So I choose here in matrix item revenue and in dimensions item brand. And then I also compared the last quarter to previous period. But unfortunately, as Google Analytics for Merch Shop doesn't have setup of proper tracking of all items, unfortunately we have all the data for not set. So let's keep it this way. Hopefully your Google Analytics are configured correctly. So thank you guys for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.